Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, those of you on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook platforms. I am T. Clay. Walk with me. We're in the book of Jubilees, and we're still in the 15th chapter. Now, we thank God for you, and you. We're trying to get together our items and things and formats that we're going to go by as far as the live. Hopefully, it'll be a weekly thing. Just going live on a weekly basis, because that will be an all-day thing. We're trying to get it to the point where it's available even to those on the other side of the globe and those on this side of the globe. Yes, and whereabouts. Try to get it into that point where it's mostly in. It's kind of hard to do that, but we'll do the best we can. But anyway, and we look forward to meeting many of you that are listening and that are a part of this move. And we also thank God for those of you that have been with us from the beginning, even those of you who have came in the middle and just moseyed on in, and those of you who have just joined. We thank God for those of you who are about to join. Yes, we give God the glory for you, and we thank God that you have made a choice even to increase your knowledge and your insight on the word of the Most High. Yes. Yes. The history and the word of the Most High. Yes. And today, got a lot of work to do. But anyway, let's pray. And it goes, deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts. And let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish me and my seed forever, that we go not astray from henceforth and forevermore. That's Jubilees Chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes, Abraham was praying a prayer that many of us need to pray each day and even recite however we should do it. There's so many thoughts come to our head, and sometimes many of us are so unspiritual and we don't know. And then those of us that call ourselves spiritual, we can get caught up. They can catch you from this end and that end. Sometimes they catch you from both ends. This is the way these demons work, and catch you unawares. And next thing you know, you either caught up in your feelings, you caught up in something that you shouldn't be caught up in. But to focus on the Most High and His Word, His commandments, that's His Word. We ain't talking about the history. We ain't talking about what this person said. We're talking about the word of God. We're talking about the commandments, statutes, judgments of the Most High. That's what we're talking about. We ain't talking about no New Testament. We're talking about what God said and what He conveyed even unto Moses to give to the children of Jacob. And these things have been passed down even to Noah, who taught his children. So those that are Gentiles really have no excuse. Yes, in the 15th chapter of Jubilees, and we ended with verse 18. Abraham doubted. He wanted to give the promise to his handmaid, Sarah's handmaid, his child, the Egyptian. But God is not so. This is going to come between you and Sarah. And in verse 19, we're going to reiterate, God said, yea, Sarai, who also will bear thee a son, and thou wilt call his name Isaac or Isaac. And I shall establish my covenant with him, an everlasting covenant, for his seed after him, an everlasting covenant. How can Jesus come and change an everlasting covenant? How can anybody come and change an everlasting covenant? You tell me. You find it in the Bible where He said, I know He blessed these people blaspheme the Most High by saying, Jesus said, or your Isis or your Yahushai or whoever said. It says, have you heard of them that said of old that ye shall not commit adultery? Huh? But I say unto you. Why? Because He said, I'm God. And then He says, I'm the vicar of Christ in the stead of the Christ. Therefore, He called Himself God. And many nations got colonized, tricked, pricked, and stuck. And even the very people, their own people, were forbidden to read the Bible, forbidden to do this in order to control them. At first they used Greeks. This is what they used. They used this, they changed Egyptian mythology into Greek mythology, and they used this to try to control the people, but it didn't work. It didn't work at all. But then when this Isis came, see, this was the plight of the Roman Empire and the Grecian regime. They was looking for ways to control people, but when they finally got this way to control people, then they came after those that were not like them. After they've brainwashed the ones that were like them. Yes, you can also find that also in the book called Discoverers by Daniel Bornstein. He talks about this also, the race for control. And also you got also, I think you got one called The Stolen Legacy. And you have other books. You have the History of the Hebrews and Arabs by Anubantu and Gert Mueller. Yes, you have a lot of books where men have really done their due diligence and studied. Whether you believe it or not is irrelevant. It's just the fact if you go there and you study the same things they study, you're going to find the answers. So therefore, it says that I shall establish my covenant with him, an everlasting covenant. In other words, it can't be changed. Everlasting. Jesus can't change it. John the Baptist can't change it. No one can change it. So that renders all that they say of themselves or others say of themselves or inserted that they said false. You say, oh no, he didn't. Yes, I did say it, false. And as for Ishmael also I have heard thee. And behold, I shall bless him and make him great and multiply him exceedingly, and he will beget 12 princes, and I shall make him a great nation. Now, this wasn't an allegory. This wasn't, some people get into the point of they just take the whole Bible as spiritual. And these was a realm of spirits. No, it's not the realm of spirit. This is actual history where God was dealing with men and mankind. But my covenant shall I establish with Asaka or Isaac, whom Sarai will bear to thee in these days and the next year. That's the hijack right there, Sarai. And he left off speaking with him, and God went up from Abram. And Abram did according, in other words, as brother Kirimeo Ahau, he says, dodge the hijack. Shout out to Kirimeo. Okay, now. And Abraham did according to as God said unto him, and he took Ishmael his son and all that were born in his house, and whom he had brought with his money, every male in his house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin. Now see, this here goes to show you he's not talking about a baby just because he wasn't circumcised on the 8th day that he's condemned. No, that was dodge the hijack. We'll put it that way. Now, and on the self same day was Abraham circumcised. Now somebody circumcised. Abraham didn't do it himself. Now how many of you are going to sit up there and try to circumcise your own self? That's preposterous. And all the men of his house and those born in the house and all those whom he had brought with money. Now he had to be taught by an angel how to do this and how far to go and what he needed to do. This just wasn't by hap. It just doesn't say. See, they leave things out. They don't say things. Angels taught men many things. And he said right here, he says he had brought with money from the children of a stranger and were circumcised with him. Now, he did have servants. Abraham didn't treat them like what we would call slave. When you say slave these days, you're talking about an ill-treated, nasty treated person, a person that's treated beyond what is humane. That's what when you talk about slavery for the definition of this day and time. No, Abraham, he didn't do it. They were a part of his kingdom. They were a part of his people. See, a kingdom, sometimes we don't understand it. We think that it's this castles and all this, the European thought. No, it's not that. It's any man that has a delegate of many people that are under his authority, that listens to him, that takes care of things, that are fed by him, that are and they fight for their way of life. You have villages in different places in South Africa, in Africa and also South America. These villages, they're like kingdoms of their own. It don't have to be a big, vast place. So you miss the whole thing when you try to compare it with, should I say, Western thoughts and Western history. You can't do that. That's not how it goes. And he says, and were circumcised with him. Verse 25. And this law is for all the generations forever. All the generations of Abraham, out of all the sons, all the concubines he had sons by, all the wives he had got soft by. Oh, yeah, he did polygyny. Yeah, buddy. Oh, that's a sin. Where was the United States government or the Catholic Church when he did that? Huh? Who instituted it? Matter of fact, even marriage, where were they? But they making money off you. They're controlling you and your household. That's what they're doing. Yes. And this law is for all the generations forever. And there is no circumcision of the days and no omission of one day out of the 8 days, for it is an eternal. What he's saying is that when a baby is born, there's no omission out of the 8 days. When that baby is born, you're supposed to go get that baby circumcised or have him circumcised. And in this day and time, by a qualified official or a qualified medical attendant. It's really a minor, really an outpatient deal. It's minor, very minor, if you can get somebody to do that on the 8th day. No, he didn't say go ahead and take your teeth and bite it off like some of these who look into the book of the dead. No wonder they act crazy. But anyway, ordinance and ordained and written on the heavenly tables. This is immutable, unchangeable, immutable. You cannot take away circumcision. Neither is baptism valid because it's not part of any covenant. It's something that was made up. John the Baptist was there, but they inserted the baptism and made sure they could flow it through the word. You can take any story and change it in any way you want to. But then the silliness of it is when you begin to look at the story and say, this doesn't make no sense. That's why it's so important that you read the commandments, statutes, judgments, and ordinances of the Most High. Because he will tell you whether something, if he wanted to change something, he would change it himself. And Jesus is not God. Yahushua is not God. Yahusha is not God. Messiah is not God. No, not in the least. Verse 26, and everyone that is born, the flesh of whose foreskin is not circumcised on the 8th day, belongeth not to the children of the covenant which the I am made with Abraham. That's what he says. Now, whether you be a stranger or whatever, and you join yourself to the covenant of Abraham, you must be circumcised. But then you have Paul who says, well, you circumcise him. Circumcision. Circumcision. If you get circumcised, you have to keep the whole law. Well, what law was you keeping before you got circumcised? Come on here. He said, but to the children of destruction, nor is there moreover any sign on him that he is the God, is the I ams, but he is destined to be destroyed and slain from the earth and to be rooted out of the earth, for he hath broken the covenant of the I am. He's saying that once a baby really comes to the knowledge that he has to get circumcised, then he gets circumcised. In other words, a baby can't do nothing if his parents are not doing what they're supposed to do. Now, all of the angels of the presence, now the angels of presence are many. They are before the Most High, receiving the message from the Most High. And all the angels of sanctification have been so created from the day of their creation, and before the angels of presence and the angels of sanctification, he has sanctified Israel, and that they should be with him and with his holy angels. And do thou command the children of Israel, and let them observe the sign of this covenant for their generations as an eternal ordinance, and they will not be rooted out of the land. So there was a point in time where Israel stopped circumcising themselves. Yes, there was. And for the command is ordained for a covenant, that they should observe it forever among all the children of Israel. Now he's talking about for the children of Israel in relations to the Most High, but this is an ordinance forever, even to all the children of Abram. Now for Ishmael and his sons and his brothers and Esau, the I am did not cause to reproach him, and he chose them not, because they are children of Abraham, because he knew them, and he chose Israel to be his people. Israel. That is another misnomer. But we're going to let it be as it is. We're not going to get into that because it's something people been putting in their mouths for, and not thousands, hundreds of years. And he sanctified it and gathered it from amongst all the children of men. Therefore are many nations and many peoples, and all are his. And over all hath he placed spirits. Listen, listen, listen. Pay attention. In authority to lead them astray from him. Let's read that again. Look, before we stop here. And he sanctified it. Sanctified what? Circumcision. The covenant. And gathered it from amongst all the children of men. What he did. Hold up, let me back that up. I'm reading this wrong a little bit. He chose Israel to be his people, and he sanctified it, what? By his covenant, and he gathered it from amongst all the children of men. Who that? The children, he talking about Abram. For there are many nations and many peoples, and all are his. Yes, all nations and all peoples are the Most High. And overall, he has placed spirits, come on, in authority to lead them astray from him. This is why you pray for your mind. Because every one of these different nations, other than the children of Jacob, these demons, these spirits have authority over them. You wonder why they act the way they act, what they do, because these spirits are over them. Some of them are able to loose themselves and join the children of Jacob and cause themselves to be different. But over Israel he did not appoint any angel or spirit, for he alone is their ruler. And he will preserve them and require them at the hand of his angels and his spirits, and at the hand of all his powers, in order that he may preserve them and bless them, that they may be his, and he may be theirs henceforth and forever. Yes, in other words, the Most High got spirits over Jacob. He's got spirits over Jacob. He's got spirits over the Bantu. He's got spirit of all those who are called by the name of the Most High. There are spirits over them that he have assigned to him. They are ever before his presence and hear what he says. But there are those you must watch out for. I don't care. There are those that are Chinese, black, white, should I say Mongolian. Yes, many of us, we're known by our color, but where did your color come from before your color was a color? Many of you were nations. You were nations of people. You were different types of people. You just was not white. You just was not black. These are the things what men use to identify each other, because they don't know who they are. Come on here. Oh, I got a bit of Scandinavian and this and me and that. Get the heck out of here. You don't know who you are. Going by a test that, what they say? That is for entertainment purposes only. But therefore, he said, now I announce unto thee, children of Israel will not keep this ordinance, and they will not circumcise their sons according to all the law, for of their flesh circumcision, they will omit the circumcision of their sons, and of all them sons of Beliar, which leave their sons uncircumcised as they were born. And with that, we're going to say peace.